I'm the only one that got out of the cult that I grew up in. My brother is still in the basement, food delivered to his door. He doesn't come out of his room. He's never been on a date. He's never had a job. He's never gone to college. But he and I were always together. We grew up together. He's the only other person that shares my childhood memories. 12 years ago, when I found my father, he was told something. I don't know what. But whatever he was told led him to make the choice to cut off all contact. His world is so small. He literally is in the basement of my cult leader grandmother's house. In his room, he doesn't go for walks. He won't reach out to anyone. His childhood friends have tried to get in touch with him. Everyone is blocked. And after 12 years, I've made a decision about my brother. And I will tell you what it is, but first, can I tell you a little bit about my brother? Because the brother that I knew was a wonderful and funny person and so interesting, and no one knows him. No one knows my brother. First, look how freaking cute he is. He was like the cutest little kid. This was my dad with my brother and I right before we were kidnapped away from him. And despite growing up in a cult, he was just such a happy little kid. He was loving. I remember one time we were in a boat on a lake and my mother started yelling at me and my brother just put his hand on my shoulder, in a really just loving, reassuring way. My life's work is helping people to be better versions of themselves. And my very first foray into personal development was my brother's idea. He had this idea that for our self-confidence that we should have me cards, which is a little piece of paper with just the letters M-E, me, with happy little golden rays of sunshine coming out of it. And I had my me card in my wallet for years that I made along with him. His humor was so delightful and he was really in it for the long game. So one time he found a little fake turtle with a magnet on it. He magnetized it to the chandelier in the dining room. And it was so well disguised, even though it was in plain sight, it might have been there for a year. And then one day I noticed it and knew that he's the one who put it there because he would do that. He would just hide things in really cute ways and just not care how long it took for people to find them, but just know that they would be delighted when they did. So thank you for knowing my brother a little bit. The first 5 years, I was desperately trying to find out where he was. I was going to hire a personal investigator. I was asking around. I was calling his old friends because my cult leader grandmother and mother told me that they hadn't seen him in years and had no idea where he was. And for someone who doesn't leave their room, that's really scary when they're missing. And then one day, another family member tells me hey, just so you know, he's just in the basement still. When I confronted my family about it, they're like, no, we were telling the truth because we really haven't seen him in years because we deliver food to his door. And so even though he's down there, we haven't seen him. So then after that, I wrote him this really beautiful letter and I got a plane ticket and I flew out and I went to the basement that he lives in and I tried to give him a letter. And my mother called the police. I tried to reach him through other family members and those family members got canceled. And a week ago, I drove 10 hours to try to give him a Christmas card. And my mother called the police again. And yes, we have done wellness checks multiple times. And my brother tells the police that he's totally fine. And a few significant things happened. Number one, this time the police physically saw him. So I asked the police officer. And yes, they saw him. And yes, they know that he's alive. Number two, my brother himself, according to the police officer, said in his own words that he does not want contact with me. Now, the reason behind that is probably based off of a complete lie fabricated by my cult leader grandmother. But the point is that he has not reached back out and he has not tried to know the truth. And the third thing is that a neighbor who's a friend of mine who lives across the street has lived there for 6 years and he's only seen my brother outside twice. Took a little video of him across the street last time he saw him because he thought it would bring me comfort. So I finally got to see the image of my brother 12 years later. And as I watched it, I just realized I don't know that person. And I've been trying for 12 years to save someone that doesn't want saving. And so I've made the decision to stop trying. I wanted to tell you because it means so much that you care. You ask about my brother and you talk about wellness checks and you share your experiences. And I'll keep sharing stories. There are so many more to share. But my efforts toward him are over now. And now I'm going to go tell my dad.